Hey guys, welcome to LaFlamme Throwers Quick Takes, and we have a great quick take for you today. So, Steve, it wasn't long ago that you and I were bantering about with our friend Frog about success in scouting and things such as that, and he told us something that was really pretty interesting.
He did, yeah. Frog, I think it would be great if you could share that take with everybody.
Yeah. So when you are out on the road, and even for someone like myself that didn't go out on the road like others that have scouted for 20, 30 years, and they're always on the road, living on the road, you're probably the most important person that you're going to come in contact that day will be the strength coach. Because the strength coach is that person that is with the players actually the most. So during the college football season, they'll be with their position coaches, they'll be with their coordinator, depends upon the team. They might spend some time with the head coach. Definitely, they probably spend the least amount of time with the head coach, barring the head coach coaches that position. But once the college football season's over in January, it's a strength coach. The strength coach has those guys for that month of January and for probably the month of February. It's just them and the strength coach. Yeah, position coaches can go and talk drills and all that for winter conditioning. And then the position coaches get them back for spring ball for a little bit. But then after spring ball, the coaches got to go recruit. The strength coach is with them during all those hard summer grueling months when you can really measure a person's character. Are they trying to get better? Or are they going to enjoy those summer months? Or can they enjoy those summer months and still get better, which is also a talent. And come on, they're teenagers in early 20s. We've all had to answer that call if you partake in booze of an early wake up to answer the bell. And the strength coaches can share all that information. And it's just, they are such an invaluable resource because they're with them all year. And that was our number one go-to, is how the strength coaches feel over like the pro liaison and over, I believe, the head coach, unless you have an amazing relationship with somebody on staff.
So Frog, I've got a question to follow up on that, because with the picture you're painting, I would imagine that, like you said, the strength coach gets to see the real side of these guys, good, bad, or ugly, right? Is there a difference with, for a lack of a better term, the respect level that the players might have for the strength coach? And I only say that because, like you said, the strength coach is basically there making sure they're doing all the grunt work to stay on top of it. He's not doing the X's and O's and deciding who's starting. Do you get the sense that a lot of players may look at their, on-field coaching staff on one level and get much more comfortable with the strength coach, almost like an eye roll, trainer, get us ready, but this guy doesn't decide whether or not I've got a roster spot?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, and it really is a mix of – it's funny, I'm telling you a good question. I'm like, maybe it depends upon the situation, which isn't the best of answer. But let me sum it up. If you like lifting, you're going to really like your strength coach. If you absolutely hate lifting, you could maybe respect the strength coach and go through the motions, but if you really like the X's and O's, you can develop the stronger relationships with the head coach or the coordinator or the position coach. So it depends upon the person, but this is going to sound awful. Quarterbacks don't always have the best of relationships with the strength coaches, because not a lot of quarterbacks love lifting like the big guys or like some skill players. But the quarterbacks might value their position coaches like no other, or the head coach like no other, because of that relationship is a little bit different. So that's like a loose example, but it always is varying on the person.
Could a strength coach, Frog, tell you something that absolutely made you scratch a kid's name off of the list and say, I'm just not going there?
Absolutely. So when you go on a college visit, you have a lot of different sources, but the strength coach to me would hold probably the most, if it's a good source, like reliable, gives you very good, reliable information. That person is the one that would mean upwards with the most, than more than possibly any position or head coach. Unless you have like a personal relationship with somebody on staff. If I'm coming in cold and the strength coach is killing the kid, and then they talk about like all the other character things that could come across negative, if it's negative football character or negative personal character, like they know those players, for the most part, I believe, the best. So yeah, that does happen.
And as a scout, is there anything that you could do to develop a relationship with a strength coach? What are some of the secrets that kind of get you in confidence with that strength coach? Or is he just going to be open to everybody?
Different universities, different people treat people differently. I mean, it is a people's business, but it's all about relationships. And in anything that you do, it's all about relationships. So you have to do what you have to do to cultivate a very good relationship. Now, you're lucky. Sometimes you can pop into a place, not know the person. They'll talk. They'll give you honest information. And then you go, thank you, and not talk to the person until you come back to that school, again in the spring or next fall. Some people, like, you really should go out of your way to try to create those relationships. And sometimes they don't want them. Like, they're too busy. They need to go lift weights more. I'm having fun. Strength coaches are very like point A to point B. And they typically wrap up their day as early as possible because they have like 6 a.m. workouts, and that means they're getting stuff set up at 5:30. But what I'm getting at is it's relationships. And however you can cultivate a relationship, that is what you have to do, whether it's remembering important dates, important details, whatever it is you have to do to cultivate that relationship.
Frog, does that transcend at all to the high school level from colleges going down? One interesting story that I was told by a neighbor recently who has a son that plays for a prestigious football program, St. Xavier High School in Cincinnati. And he was telling me how his son, who's not an exceptional, athlete, but would talk about how guys like Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, et cetera, they would come to the weight room and watch these guys lift. And that's when they would be talking to coaches. And I talked to another friend in Cleveland who's familiar with the landscape up there and said, oh, yeah, it's the same thing. That's where a lot of these big names will come in to talk to the staff and watch the kids is in the weight room, which shocked me for some reason. Is there any similarity there? Is that, is there anything other than them wanting to see these kids' physique? What's the magic about the weight room with a lot of these guys?
All right, so from college to high school is different. So in Ohio, they're probably going to the weight room, and you mentioned great places that you referenced where they have like an actual strength coach or a very big weight room. They're going there because we don't have spring football, and they might only play one sport. So it is good. You want to see them lift, but they're not going to keep the closest of scores on they lift unless they already like them and they're lifting like a madman. But if they're not into weights and they have a special talent that Nick Saban or Urban Meyer thinks, like, hey, I saw him do this on film, they can make our team better, the weight room and all those things won't be as big of a deal. But in the South, you'll hear a lot of that, like they were at spring practice because they have spring practice in the South. If a player plays basketball, that was one thing that we loved because we can see them do athletic moves on the court, where that helped us back when I was in that college phase. And we always loved it when guys competed in track because A, you get hard numbers, but B, like they're also doing other things. Again, I can't get over enough. Playing multiple sports makes you better at your sport that you want to go to college for. And, I get it if kids want to specialize, but there's just so many correlation, especially in the NFL, that when you play multiple sports, such an overwhelming number of players that get drafted played multiple sports.
Wow, Frog, that's an excellent take. Once again, thank you guys for watching this episode of LaFlamme Throwers Quick Takes. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.